Ryan, how did the Taft Trail start, and where does it go from and where to?
Yeah, well, it runs for 55 miles from Cardiff to Brecon, and it basically follows the line of the old railways and tram roads that were used in the industrial heritage in South Wales, really, to transport coal and iron ore and so on down to Cardiff from Merthyr and other areas. And essentially the local authorities realised the potential of some of these routes really back in the mid-80s. And Cardiff had done a little bit of work to create cycle routes in the city, which included some of the former track bed of the what is now the trail alongside the river. Similarly in Merthyr and Rhondda and Taff as well, they'd done a little bit of work. But it was really in about 1988 when Groundwork came along and organised a group that started to think about development more strategically of the trail. And they set up a grouping that really started to take forward development of it with the different authorities, and eventually led to an officer being appointed as well for a number of years to actually develop the trail. And that's really when it started to really open up as a full sort of strategic route. But obviously it's taken a number of years to develop to what we see today. And it really, the next stage after the initial development up to the sort of early 90s was when Sustrans got involved with the first tranche of funding for the National Cycle Network and incorporated the route into the National Cycle Network. And that really boosted it hugely, and ever since then it's grown and grown and is now probably the most popular part of the whole National Cycle Network in Wales, and also forms part of Lôn Las Cymru, which is a long distance route between Cardiff and Holyhead.
How long have you been involved with it then, Ryan?
Well, I started on the Mid Wales section in Powys back in 1996 with Sustrans, working with Powys County Council. And I worked with the then Taft Trail Development Officer to look at further signing and development of the trail for the northern part of the route. But I also had colleagues who worked on the southern part of the trail as well. And really it's developed a lot as part of the National Cycle Network in that period.
Do you know how many people roughly would use it every year?
Well, it's we haven't got many latest figures, but I mean certainly we did some analysis a few years ago, and we probably estimated there were in the region of about 3 million trips typically annually on the route. I think that's probably expanded now. Certainly we know that during the recent problems with COVID, people were really looking for trails like this and green space, and as a result of that we know there was a tripling of usage. So we will see quite high numbers on it now, yeah.
How do you see it developing in the future? Because, I mean, I think perhaps there's like so many people using it now, it's quite congested, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, parts of it we're having to think seriously about the levels of use and potential conflict between users, because as you say, it's extremely popular, particularly in this section in Cardiff, which is also used a lot for commuting as well. And we've seen, as I say, as a result of the recent lockdowns, there's been a very significant increase in usage. So a number of the authorities are looking at ways to improve the trail, looking at widening it, looking at improving access for users. And we think that as part of the development of the National Cycle Network generally, Sustrans has an initiative called Paths for Everyone, and that's a vision for the next 20 or 30 years for the National Cycle Network that will really hopefully see the numbers grow on it. But we also need to manage that, so good design, good signage, and creating access for all is really part of the vision for the future of this trail.
That's great, thanks ever so much.